Love, Death, and Robots released its fourth volume recently. I'm not going to talk about that because I only barely finally got around to watching volume 3. So I'm going to talk about that instead. So, Love, Death, and Robots, third season. I've been a bit up and down on this show up to this point. I think I've settled in now because I've come to accept it for what it is as opposed to what I would like it to be. I think I still consider I think the first season to be the most interesting. It was the most varied in terms of subject matter and tone and art style. And the second season bleeds together. I can't remember a lot of distinct things about the second season. I feel like the second season did it started to lean really heavily on the super realistic, being as photoreal as possible thing. And I like the third season better than the second because there is some of that, but it's not as across the board. There's a bit more shake up in terms of the visual art styles. That having been said, this season is bleak. Like, death is in the title. These shows and the shorts that they have in them have frequently lent in a bit of a morbid direction. But at the same time, this one feels the most like everything ends in gruesome death. That's not technically true, but it really feels that way. Like, even some of the lighter ones have a certain brutality to them that just kind of makes you go, huh. Like, if these were all made by the same production team, they're not. It's unique ones for each one. But if they were all made by the same production team, I would assume that somebody at, higher up at the planning department was going through a divorce. Like, it kind of has that energy a little bit. But there's still definitely good stuff here, and I appreciate it for the same reason that I appreciated, the first season, especially the second one a little less. But I like animation. I appreciate animation as an art form, and I like watching anything that feels like going to an animation festival because being able to sit down and getting that variety of tones and ways of approaching things and art styles. And again, this has a good chunk of it is that going for that super realistic photoreal thing. And those ones are also the bleakest of the lot, go figure. But there is still enough of a different approach across it that I still came away feeling more or less positive about it, even though I wouldn't recommend binging this season. Again, it's just, it leaves you with a bleak feeling overall. I'm going to go through them real quick and give my overall thoughts. And yes, I'm going to look them up on my phone. I'm going to cheat. 3 Robots, Exit Strategies. Love that. I actually deliberately watched this in the reverse order that it's in on Netflix because I wanted to end with 3 Robots because I loved 3 Robots in the first season. So I'm like, I know I'm going to want you last because I'd heard this season's kind of brutal. I'm going to want you last as a palate cleanser. So I'm saving you. And I'm glad I did. And even that one does have a certain darkness to it, but it's way more gleeful and you laugh. It's funny. It's legitimately funny, that one. And I just certain aspects of the commentary on the as these robots go through what is left of civilization, that humans are completely gone. There's some commentary there that is aged pretty decently. And again, just funny. I like these robot characters, and then this was a good time. Also, Elena, a hologram who shows up. Like her a lot. I don't think there'll ever be a reason to bring her back for more of these, but she was good. I liked her. Bad Traveling. This one I mostly liked. So this is one set on a ship, and it's kind of Lovecraftian, and there's this big crab monster in the hold, and it's sort of this crew trying to deal with that. My main criticism on this is that the faces, especially of the characters, are just stylized enough. The shape of the face is just stylized enough that I don't think it benefits from the super realistic texturing that they did. It creates an uncanny valley effect. yeah, I mean, the super realistic, art style tends to get the uncanny valley anyway. But this was really well in there because the faces were just stylized enough that it felt like they shouldn't be realistic. It gave me kind of that unsettling feeling, like if you've ever seen any of those renders that people have done, like super realistic renders of Mario, like it just looks wrong. I kind of had that feeling a little bit with some of the faces. That having been said, I like the progression of this one. And the way that we sort of learn about characters, especially the central character as it progresses, is really well thought out and really well put together. And there's some interesting and neat, creepy ideas in this. It felt like it was missing a beat at the very end. It felt like there should have been one more thing that happened. I don't even necessarily know what it should have been, but it did kind of feel to me like, okay, like you could end there, but I feel like there should be one more scene after where you chose to end. Just to fully put a button on this. And I feel like it's missing that. It was still good though. What was after that? The Very Pulse of the Machine. I like that one a lot. That might be my favorite of the season. It has a poetry to it. Again, kind of rough, not exactly lighthearted, but the art style, it's still like fully rendered 3D, but it does sort of have those effects laid over them to give it a little bit more of a 2D feel, sort of a cel shaded feel, which can go south on me, but I think it worked here, especially with the kind of story that it was telling and like its trippier aspects. And as I said, there's kind of a beauty and a poetry to it that I really liked. This one reminded me of stuff like, what was it, Zima Blue from the first season, or the one with Fish, which I think was second season. Like, that's the kind of stuff I really like when this series does it. So, yeah, I think that one was my favorite of the season. The Night of the Mini Dead. This one was hilarious. Again, it is also morbid, but you just watch it. You just have this really distanced view, this sort of like isometric bird's eye view of what is ultimately a zombie apocalypse, but everything's moving. It's just these tiny little figures zipping around, and it's sped up, and it's pretty funny. It's the comedic sensibilities and comedic timing on that one, real good. Real good. I like that one a lot. Kill Team Kill. That one was all right. That was 2D animated, which helped. And as a result, the characters were also a bit more exaggerated than in a lot of the more realistic ones, realistically rendered ones. So there was a bit more personality in this one. Ultimately, it was, military people fight a monster. Kind of like Soul Sucker in that way from season 1. It was fine. It was fun. I enjoyed it. But, it is what it says on the tin. And it's fine. Swarm. This was one that I really like. I want to add like another 7 minutes onto this one. Because this is another one that is fully realistically rendered. But like it's dealing with some really fascinating ideas of like this other form of life and what it is and how it operates and how it thinks and how humans might interact with that and what it would mean for them to try and get to better understand that, how they might try and exploit it, and then what happens after that. It's really well done, but I feel like it needed about another 7 minutes because a huge chunk of it is kind of taken up in various forms of exposition. And after the exposition, it kind of jumps to the end. And I would have liked, and the exposition isn't bad. I think it's pretty well delivered, and it's delivered in a way that I tend to like these kind of exposition dumps done, by people who have really thought a lot about this. And they're not just reading off of Wikipedia, like they are excited by these ideas. They're excited to share them. So like, it's not like it was badly delivered exposition, but I wanted more breathing room from when the exposition was done to the end. And I would like to have had more breathing room in between those two things. Like, I know I said 7 minutes, honestly, even 3. Just even tack 3 more minutes onto this thing. I think it could have been something really special. As it is, it's some cool ideas, some squicky visuals, depending on what sort of creeps you out a bit. But, it could have been more. Mason's Rats. This was one that I did like, but is another one that it it is a reminder of the brutality of the thing, because like the plot is just this guy getting increasingly destructive automated systems to try and deal with his rat problem in his barn, and it is funny, and I did like it. I especially like how it ends, but like it is brutally violent, like in an over the top way that I think is meant to be comedic in and of itself. But again, like it's realistically rendered enough that at moments it was kind of harrowing when I felt it should have been a bit more ridiculous. It's another one that like the characters and stuff aren't as realistically rendered as the ones in Bad Traveling were, but it kind of suffers a little bit from the same issue, which is I feel like you should have gone more stylized with the art, because especially when it gets violent, the blood effects and the gore are a bit too realistic for the tone. So yeah, that held it back a little, but overall I did like it. In Vaulted Halls Entombed, this was fine. It was fine. But soldiers in a Lovecrafty thing, fully realistic, lifelike animation and rendering. So it visually, like, other than just the sheer technical accomplishment of it, which I appreciate. A lot of work, I don't doubt. But other than just the sheer technical accomplishment of it, like, this visual presentation doesn't do a lot for me. So it was fine. Like it for the kind of story it was well executed. Just, it's the kind of thing that when the show does it, I'm a little bit like, oh, okay, this again, got it. And then finally, Jabaro, which I didn't super love the art style. Again, leaning pretty hard into going realistic. Although again, like the faces, especially the reactions, are a bit more stylized. I feel like the Uncanny Valley works slightly better in this one's favor than it did with Bad Traveling. And there's definitely some neat ideas as you've got this deaf warrior sort of just interacting with. I'd like to explain exactly what's going on is to talk too much about the story, but like interacting with this siren whose voice can't affect him. And I really liked the visual storytelling of this. The storytelling being done through the body language and just the way these characters interacted. I actually liked quite a bit. But I would have liked something more stylized. So I didn't super love this one visually, but it is a really well told story and it has some neat ideas in it. So yeah, I think the one I probably liked the least was In the Vaulted Halls Entombed. Either that or maybe Kill Team Kill. Not that any of these were bad. They weren't. Those were just like the most standard, the most like, oh yeah, that's what I expect from this show kind of thing. Whereas like Three Robots, I knew what I was going to get, but I was excited for it. It was funny. And then The Very Pulse of the Machine, that one was so good. I liked that one a lot. And then what was it? The Night of the Mini I didn't rewatch that one. That one was a hoot. But it's pretty solid. Pretty solid. Don't know when I'm going to get around to the 4th volume. Hopefully sooner than several years later, but no promises. In any case, Love, Death, and Robots, Volume 3. What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills and enables me to do this as my living, even if you can't help me out that way. Like, share, subscribe. Those all help. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here so you can come on back next time you need a break. And now it's time to thank my highest supporting patrons. Robin Moore, Quite Bearish, Zubin Lutfula, Auntie Kate 808, Mira G, Angry Casper, Dave Hall, Andre, Movie Turtle, Oliver B, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Melissa Pedersen, Mary Mello, Iron, Becky Sparks, Loki Eris, Tracy Scrabbit, and Sir Didymus is my favorite. We have a new little guy here under my hair. That's Satyr.
So yes, he can now join in the distraction chorus as I try to read names. Thanks, guys. Welcome to the family.